You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready. Prepare for blastoff.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, hi there. My name is Prostetnic Vogon Jebs, and in this video we're talking about...
Interstellar!
No, we're talking about a movie where a young man, living out in the middle of nowhere with no future, takes to the stars and battles the oppressive forces of an evil empire that wants to take over... No, it's not Star Wars, Clippy. Yeah, I'm sure. It's not Star Wars. It's The Last Starfighter. Wow, you are being awfully salty today.
Victory or death! 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 Victory or death!
The Last Starfighter is a 1984 space opera directed by Nick Castle, who would later go on to deliver such classics as Major Payne and Mr. Wrong, along with a disappointing adaptation of Dennis the Menace. The science fantasy cult classic stars Lance Guest as Alex Rogan, Robert Preston as Centauri, Dan O'Herlihy as Grigg, Norman Snow as Zur, and Catherine Mary Stewart as Gwen Saunders. I mean Maggie Gordon. Come on guys, it's a Weekend at Bernie's reference. Stay with me here. Now, I want to nip something in the bud before we get started.
Interested?
There are a lot of folks out there who will say this movie is a cheap knockoff of Star Wars. And they are absolutely correct. It is a derivative story.
How long must we endure this fool?
Which probably means that all of the knuckleheads who couldn't enjoy Sinners because it shared too many similarities with From Dusk Till Dawn are going to hate it. Like I'm sure they would hate The Magnificent Seven for copying Seven Samurai, or Joker cribbing from Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy, or pretty much any remake of any kind. The fact of the matter is that the vast majority of media, of any kind, is derivative.
This may come as a bit of a shock to you.
Filmmakers copy or borrow, or whatever the hell you want to call it, from other filmmakers all of the time. And there is nothing inherently wrong with that. When it's done well, it's called homage or inspiration, and when it's done poorly, it's called copying or theft. There's a Picasso quote that gets thrown around quite a bit. I think I may have even referenced it in a previous video. But the quote is this: "Good artists borrow, great artists steal."
Huh?
It more or less means that true creativity involves reinterpreting existing ideas rather than outright copying them. If a movie is legitimately entertaining, if the sum of the good outweighs the sum of the bad, if the creative direction is an evolution of its forebear, well, being derivative isn't an issue. Where was I going with this? All right, yeah, The Last Starfighter is a loose Star Wars ripoff. Actually, it's a pretty blatant ripoff. There are a ridiculous number of similarities. But if this is the road we want to go down, then Star Wars is a pretty blatant ripoff of Kurosawa's The Hidden Fortress. But in both circumstances, the creative direction veers enough to be considered transformative and fresh. The Last Starfighter a little less so, but I digress. It's still a fun time.
We shall see.
So let's get into it. Alex Rogan lives in the Starlight Starbright trailer park with his mother, Jane, and his younger brother, Louis. His girlfriend, Maggie, also lives in the trailer park with her grandmother. Alex and Maggie have planned a day at the beach with their friends, but before they can head out for an afternoon of sand, surf, and day drinking, their plans are interrupted. You see, Alex has been working as a handyman in order to raise money for college. He's determined to make a better life for himself.
You guys think I'm gonna hang out here, watch you shine your pickup, go to the drive-in, get drunk and throw up every Saturday night, go to City College like everybody else? Forget it, man. I'm doing something with my life.
Unfortunately, that forces him to prioritize the needs of the park above his own entertainment. He's called back by his mother and winds up working the whole day. After finishing up, Alex daydreams about space and passes time by playing Starfighter, a space shooter arcade game about defending the galaxy from Zur and the Kodan Armada.
Ha! Gay!
Maggie returns from the beach and diffuses her boyfriend's bout of jealousy before noticing that Alex is about to break the record for the game. Fellow resident Otis encourages the entire trailer park to come up and watch Alex get his game on.
Alex is going for the
Man, these people must be really desperate for entertainment. You know, for years I watched this scene and laughed my ass off at the notion that everyone was so invested in seeing this kid break a video game record. And then all of that started happening in real life, and I realized it was one of the more realistic scenes in the movie, you know, despite the camp of it all. Jonathan Bedelay, the film's screenwriter, understood the power video games have over a player's imagination, the fantasy of role-playing and becoming the protagonist of an epic adventure. He also had a remarkably prescient take on esports with this scene, but that's neither here nor there. As the night winds down, Maggie gets upset because she realizes her boyfriend really is intending on leaving the park to build a better life. But they love each other, and Alex doesn't plan on leaving her behind, so they get all kissy face in the most PG way possible.
Diarrhea.
Returning home from a long day at work, Alex's mother shares some bad news. The loan application he needed for school wasn't approved.
Still go to City College with your friends?
Alex storms off, pissed off that his dreams have been ruthlessly kneecapped. He heads out for a walk and notices the Starfighter arcade cabinet going squirrely. Moments later, a strange car, a combination of the DeLorean from Back to the Future and the station wagon from Vacation, pulls into the parking lot. The driver is looking for the person who broke the high score on Starfighter.
You're looking at him. Who are you?
Centauri's the name. I invented Starfighter. We have to talk about a matter of utmost importance. Step into my office. Nothing to be afraid of.
Centauri lures Alex into his futuristic station wagon and introduces him to Beta, who then bolts, leaving Alex alone with a strange old man and a... Okay, no, listen, it's not that kind of movie. I know this all seems wrong, but it's not going in that direction, I promise. Centauri and Alex take off into the night, speeding through the canyons at 303 miles per hour. Alex is understandably freaked out, even more so when Centauri's station wagon turns into a spaceship and leaves Earth's atmosphere. Oy vey, those f***ing graphics. Listen, at the time, the extensive amount of CGI included in this movie was seen as an impressive feat. The only other movie to rely as heavily on computer graphics at the time was Tron, but Steven Lisberger, the director and writer of that sci-fi classic, knew how to mask the imperfections of the technology. Castle and his crew, unfortunately, did not. The audience that would have been interested in The Last Starfighter are the same folks who just watched 3 consecutive Star Wars movies with far superior visual effects. It didn't really matter how innovative the CGI was because it looked like shit in comparison to movies using practical effects from as little as 7 years previous. Hell, if we want to get nitpicky about it, audiences were getting better visual effects back in the 60s with Kubrick's 2001. I don't know, maybe the terrible CGI is endearing to some people. I can kind of see that. But I think if there were ever a movie in need of a George Lucas-style graphics overhaul, it's The Last Starfighter. Anyway, for no reason whatsoever, Alex's host removes his face and reveals himself to be an alien. And as they approach the Star League's mountain base, Centauri puts his face back on, lands and parks his space wagon, and then runs off without explaining anything to Alex. Back on Earth, Maggie visits Alex in an effort to comfort him after hearing about the loan rejection. But that's not Alex in Alex's bed. Beta, you weirdo, what are you doing? Alright, back to the Star League base on planet Rylos. Alex wanders around, confused and dumbfounded by what he's experiencing. He's given a translation device so that everyone can just speak English and not have to worry about reciting some alien gibberish.
Oni Matsuela. Prita. Prita.
There's some talk about the frontier, which is more or less a force field protecting the Rylans from the oppressive and evil Kodan Empire, but none of it really matters. All you need to know is Rylan's good, Kodan bad. Alex soon discovers that he has been recruited as a starfighter, a Gunstar spacecraft gunner who works in tandem with a navigator. Wandering away from the mission debriefing, Alex bumps into Grig, his navigator,
Star Navigator First Class Grig, at your service, sir.
and explains his disinterest with becoming a starfighter. Grig and Alex confront Centauri, who explains that the Starfighter arcade game wasn't just a game, but also a recruitment tool for the Star League.
You may have thought it was a game, but it was also a test.
And then a hologram blows its way into the base. Seriously, why is a hologram creating wind? It doesn't matter. It's Zur, a former Rylan who has aligned himself with the Kodan for reasons that are completely irrelevant to this review. He also happens to be this guy's son.
You are no longer my son.
And there's clearly some evidence of neglect and psychological damage that, You know what? Let's not get into that. Zur is planning an attack, and he's so friggin' cocky about it that he tells his enemy when he's going to do it.
The green moon of Galan is eclipsed. Kodan Armada will invade. Not even your mighty starfighters will be able to save you.
And then back to Alex, who doesn't want to be a starfighter. So Centauri takes him back to Earth. And Zur shows off his weird-looking scepter to his Kodan allies before launching some meteors at the Star League base. The base defenses are sabotaged, and the entire place is destroyed. Only one starfighter manages to survive and escape.
Escaped?
It's Alex, by the way. He's the last starfighter. And roll credits! No. Okay, returning to the trailer park, Alex gets a wicked slap from Maggie and then stumbles upon Beta sleeping in his bed.
Hey, you look like me.
Beta explains that he's a simuloid or some other sci-fi bullshit like that.
I'm a state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line beta unit.
Not a robot, apparently, though no explanation is ever given for what exactly he is. Because let's face it, he's a robot, maybe an android. A courtesy doppelganger. A placeholder for Earth Alex so that he can go off into space and fight the good fight and no one will question why he's gone. Alex rightfully questions why Beta couldn't just fight in his place, and we get yet another dismissive non-answer.
Simuloids can't fight. We're not allowed. Well, tell him that you're me. Pretend.
The exposition here is not good. I mean, this is terrible.
And hey, what did you do to Maggie? Do to her? We're sitting outside looking at the stars and she sticks her tongue in my...
Quick, cut to an alien bounty hunter assassin arriving in the trailer park. Alex and Beta are attacked by a shape-shifting Zandozan sent by Zur. Oh... Luckily, Centauri shows up in the nick of time and saves the starfighter and his doppelganger. Centauri is fatally wounded, but manages to convince Alex to return with him to fight Zur and the Kodan Armada. Upon their arrival, they discover that the base has been destroyed. Well, I guess it wasn't completely destroyed. I mean, there are survivors, including Grieg, which is super convenient for the plot. Centauri dies and Grieg prepares Alex for battle.
So it's safe to assume that Zur thinks you're still on Earth.
Yeah.
That could work to our advantage.
They get suited up and Alex receives a 1-minute tutorial on how to operate the Gunstar spaceship. Meanwhile, Maggie and Beta Alex make up and plan a romantic evening at Silver Lake, and a second Zandozan shape-shifting assassin arrives on Earth in search of the last Starfighter. Later that night, as Grieg and Alex are attacking an enemy base in the void of space, things get awkward with Maggie and Beta. During a passionate pre-coital argument, Beta gets put into the dog pound. And instantly cracks, revealing his true nature to Maggie.
I'm not Alex Rogan.
What?
I'm a beta unit. I'm an exact duplicate of Alex.
She doesn't even have time to not believe him. Beta is then shot by the Zandozan assassin and gives chase. Maggie buys into everything immediately, and Beta sacrifices himself to prevent the Zandozan from revealing that Alex is actually... Oh, God. Run-on sentences, man. And Beta sacrifices himself... And Beta sacrifices himself to prevent the Zandozan from revealing that Alex is actually up in space preparing to take on the entire... Oh, God, I don't even have enough oxygen to get this all out. Okay, I probably should have worked on my punctuation here a little bit better. And Beta sacrifices himself to prevent the Zandozan from revealing that Alex is actually up in space preparing to take on the entire Kodan Armada.
Transmission pulsars have stopped, Commander. The last Starfighter
Is dead.
Before initiating their attack, Maggie gives Alex some kind of psychic time and space-defying message of support.
I love you, Alex Rogan.
Which, well, yeah, okay. Soon after, the Kodan Armada catches Alex and Grieg on their radar and decide that's reason enough to get rid of Zur.
Release me! I command you! You will pay for this with your life!
Who never gets a chance to use his fancy knife scepter. Oh, no, okay, never mind. There he goes. I can only assume he's heading to find an escape pod in order to travel to a sequel that will never exist. As they face off against the Armada, Alex is forced to use Death Blossom, an unstable last resort weapon that will leave their ship vulnerable to an attack. Thank the plot gods, it works and the entire Kodan fleet is destroyed. In a final act of desperation, the Kodan mothership attempts to ram the defenseless Gunstar spaceship, and at the last moment, Grieg manages to route life support energy to power the ship. It's enough juice to attack and disable the Kodan mothership, which then gets locked into the gravitational pull of a nearby moon.
What do? We die.
Honestly, the movie is worth watching just for that line. It's simultaneously stupid and awesome. I mean, it's stupid awesome. What do? We die. I mean, he's not wrong. Returning to Rylos, Alex and Grig are celebrated as heroes and are asked to help rebuild the Starfighter Legion.
Rebuild the Legion?
Of course, you'd have the help of an old friend.
Oh, and Centauri isn't dead. Okay, whoa, hold on a minute. He did this back in the Griswold DeLorean. He uses that red cloth to wipe his human face off and on, but then he just pulls off his hood and everything else is human? I mean, is this some kind of alien species where everything looks human except for the face proper? Like it's a human head, human ears, human neck, etc., but the face, just the face, is semi-reptilian? Is that how this works? What the is going on here?
I thought you were dead.
Oh, no. I was merely dormant while my body repaired itself. No, I won't bore you with the details.
Oh, that should be the tagline of this movie. The Last Starfighter. We won't bore you with the details. Alex and Grig return to Earth in their Gunstar spaceship so that Alex can say goodbye to his family and friends properly. He invites Maggie to come with them, but she's afraid to leave the trailer park, and she doesn't want to leave her grandmother behind.
Well, what about Granny, Alex?
But as Alex turns to leave, Maggie realizes that her grandmother is probably going to die soon, and she just can't live without that dick. I'm assuming, subtext, right? The end. The Last Starfighter was a box office bomb. Not a huge one, but the nearly $30 million it made worldwide, minus marketing and box office take, most likely wasn't enough to offset the $15 million production budget. It received generally positive reviews.
That'll do, Pig.
Just not overwhelmingly positive.
That'll do.
The public reception to the film was pretty much on par with that of those behind the scenes. To illustrate this, I'll point out that at the end of the movie's credits, there is a mention that the video game adaptation for the film would be available from Atari. The problem? The game doesn't exist. It was being developed, but when the suits from Atari got a look at the film, they were like,
"Oh, business. We've got better things to do."
They shelved the game and no one bothered to remove the text from the movie's credits. At that point, everyone just said, F it, and sent the movie out to die a slow death in theaters. Which, I can't help but wonder if this was partly due to the lackluster special effects. I'm not saying it's all bad. There are some genuinely decent effects in the movie. But there's also this, and this, and this. Oh, my God. Too much pop. Don't get me wrong, I think The Last Starfighter is a great movie in spite of its flaws.
There's a perfectly logical explanation for all this.
I'm not going to pretend nostalgia doesn't play a factor, because it absolutely does. And obviously, being a video game lover for my entire life impacts my impression of the movie. I think it's cashing in on a pretty common childhood fantasy. But more importantly, it's the characters and the overall tone of the story that does it for me. The world building, the contrast between the trailer park and the Star League base. It's interesting at the very least. It's not developed as much as I want, but it's compelling, just like the performances from a generally stellar cast. Guest, O'Hurley, Stewart, and Snow all turn in committed performances that fit the genre, while Robert Preston elevates the production with his chaotic and old-fashioned Centauri. I mean, it's just a fun adventure with goofy characters played by actors who, even if they thought the material was beneath them, treat the story with respect and do their best to make it work. There's a spirit of hopefulness and a general lightheartedness to the movie that you don't really see nowadays. It's not the most original movie, granted. It's not the best space opera out there, but it's a sincere movie with a positivity that modern movies seem to be lacking. It's the kind of movie we need more of in an increasingly cynical and hope-crushing world. Have you seen the movie?
I'm not gonna tell you.
What did you love or hate about it? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend giving it a chance.
Oh, you're gonna love it. Love it!
Because The Last Starfighter is a pretty fun f***ing movie.